Hey everybody, I'm Z Garcia and welcome back to Board Game Blender. Today we are talking about the expanding horizons of more expansions for our beloved games. I am a big fan of expansion content. I enjoy this idea of something you thought was complete and gets a new addition, the ability to take something you are familiar with and show it to you in a new light. It's sort of like watching a movie or a story from a different point of view, from another character's point of view, and realizing how that's different in their perception. And I think board games, board game expansions specifically, are in some ways able to do that. I think that's pretty neat how you can, expand a specific aspect that you perhaps considered not that interesting of a part in this setting, Like, wow, now the economy in this little world that I used to play with, which had a lot of combat and intrigue, well, now the economy is sort of a bigger deal. I think that's pretty cool. And so today we're going to be talking about that. You're going to hear, some points of view that even perhaps suggest that there's too much of a good thing when it comes to expansions, but I'm a big fan of them. So let's take a look at them. Here we go.
What's up, guys? I'm Ben.
And I'm Tommy.
And we've been talking games.
And today on Meet, Beat, or Obsolete, we're looking at expandables. And we decided that we would look at the number one most... No, that's not true. Seven Wonders.
It's number 7.
It should be number 7 on BGG. That's my opinion.
Start a petition.
We should. We should get everybody to rank it exactly. Anyway, we're talking about Seven Wonders, and Seven Wonders is a pretty simple drafting game. It's really drafting at its finest. Everybody has a hand of cards. You pick a card, you play it face down, you wait for everybody else, and then you all reveal at the same time, and you do that until the age is over. You do that 3 times.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty simple. This is touted as an entry-level game.
No, it is.
It is not an entry-level game.
Sold in Target.
Well, it was. I don't know if it is anymore.
I bought it at Target.
I saw it at Target a long time ago, but I have yet to see it there again. Yeah.
Well, what are our thoughts on the expansions? Let's find out. 3, 2, 1. And there you have it. It gets a beat.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well,
that's surprising to me.
We knew that, I don't know. They don't know. I knew that it was a beat for you.
Yeah, this is a beat for me, for sure. I mean, this was the first game that I played. So...
Besides Sorry and Monopoly.
Besides Sorry, Monopoly, Settlers, I suppose. But I never looked at Settlers and was like, let me look into gaming even more. Seven Wonders was my entry point. Seven Wonders was like, I saw it in a store, I was like, I want to play it. A couple months later, we sat down, we played it. We bought it, and then we bought a lot more games. This was my step into this world.
And now he has everything.
That's right.
We say everything, but...
Oh, are we talking about Seven Wonders?
The expansions.
I have pretty much everything, yes.
In life.
Yes, I have everything in life because of this game. Thank you, Seven Wonders. Thank you, Antoine.
Yes. No, but I bought it originally, played it, was okay with it, ended up selling it. It wasn't until I played with the expansions that I was like, this game is good. And
it's definitely...
It took it over the top for me.
It can get pretty stale, I think, with the base game, but the expansions really carry it through, gives it a lot of legs. And
the expansions are, for those who may not be familiar.
Oh, Leaders, Cities, Babel, not necessarily in that order. There's also a Wonder Pack, which adds 4 extra wonders, which are, I would say, essential because they're great. And then there's the Anniversary Pack for Leaders and Cities, which adds 15 new Leaders and 15 new City cards.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yes, I also have the promo cards for Will Wheaton, Louis, a few other people, Esteban. They're great. I love the game. It's so good, in my opinion, and the 2-player variant, despite the hate that it gets,
is not bad.
One of my favorite 2-player variants ever to play. So, if you got some time, check it out. If you haven't already, you probably have, but revisit it. Antoine said that there's supposed to be 7 expansions for the game.
We're at what?
We're at 3.
Wow.
So
You need a bigger box.
He keeps tweeting about wow, Armada, Seven Wonders Armada. So I cannot wait for it.
So if you're into expansions,
this is the game to, not the game, but
one of the games.
There's definitely a lot to get for it.
Yep.
And it's so cheap. It's not.
No. But if you like it, it's worth it.
Go check us out on our channel at Ben Talkin' Games. Follow us, like, subscribe. Thought you were gonna chop my head off there.
That's our motto.
Also, feel free to leave a comment.
Yes.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Go to a video.
Tell us
Watch
about
any video.
Yeah.
Not even ours. Just leave a comment somewhere. Tell them that we sent you there.
Yeah. Give us credit. I don't.
Or no.
We're done. We'll see ya.
See you guys.
Seven Wonders.
Hi everyone! I get excited about anything, but if it is something that I already very much like and they are going to add something new, aka an expansion, my excitement just goes out of the roof. Yay! Gen 3 has arrived in Pokemon Go! Let's get that Mudkip! Catching up new Pokemon! Mudkip, you are going to be mine! Go into my ball! Oh, so much excitement! It is going to be... Yeah... Oh! Oh! My kid, I didn't want to go. You're my last chance. Let's go, Minan! Go into the ball! Make me happy! Yes? Yes? I used a golden raspberry. Don't... Yay! Yay! Minan, I'm so happy with you. You're my new favorite expansion. Hey Nala, when are you going to give me some new kittens? Tell me, I want expansions. Nala, new kittens. Give them to me. Playing Pocket Camp, let's see what is new. A major update! Yep, that really is my normal reaction when I get new stuff about things that I really am excited about. And so it's really no surprise to you that I also really like expansions. And I'm just going to show a couple of them to you. But first I am going to show you the expansion that I just bought yesterday in my friendly local game store. And that is going to be Clank, Sunken Treasures. You can see it's still in shrink wrap. It even has still the price tag on it. And I'm really excited about this expansion. I just bought Clank at Essen and I already played it like 4 or 5 times. So I'm pretty excited about all the new cards that are going to be in this expansion. As you can see, I have a lot of Ticket to Ride expansions, but probably the one I like the most is going to be the Switzerland map. I'm sorry other Dutch people, but I just really like Switzerland map. That is for 2 to 3 players. It's really tight. It has some interesting other rules in which you are going to score, and it can be really mean, and it's a really good map to play with 2 or 3 people. So that's going to be the Switzerland map. Most gamers have a game that they don't really want to play without an expansion. And for me, that is going to be Machikoro, for which I have both expansions that I'm going to show somewhere here. Machikoro is really not that interesting without the expansion. It even feels a little bit broken, but when adding the expansions, you get different cards every game, and that's when the game gets really interesting. So if you didn't like Machikoro, really try it with the expansions, because that makes the game really much more better. That is Machikoro with the expansions. Before I'm going to end this video, I really wanted to wish all of you happy holidays and a happy new year, and hopefully that we will see each other again in the next year in all of my upcoming videos. And for the holidays, that you are going to be surrounded by friends and good food, of course, and you will have as lovely winter weather as us here in the Netherlands right now.
Welcome to, I don't know if that was the best start. Welcome to Bickering Over Board Games, where my wife and I talk about trends in board games and how we feel about them. And we're not afraid of controversy. So we're going to be talking about expansions, and specifically I want to talk about something that I've noticed, which is that board games are receiving more expansions more frequently and sooner than ever before.
Sometimes before you've even ever played the game.
So yeah, so one thing for sure to talk about is Kickstarters, which we are fans of Kickstarter. We've gotten some of our favorite games through Kickstarter. But sometimes companies will, in the base pledge for a game, you can write that in there, not just add on one expansion, sometimes there'll be multiple expansions for a game that doesn't even exist yet. So, I don't know, it just creates
It's way more money. Well, I'm cheap. I should just say that. It's a lot of... Frugal. It's a lot of money up front for a game that we haven't necessarily played, and then when it shows up, in my opinion, it's almost an overwhelming amount of game. I mean, kickstarting a game is pressure in and of itself. Because what if that game never makes it to retail? What if this is our one chance to get it? You are always saying that to me.
I thought you were saying what if it doesn't... What if it doesn't... It fails or something?
No. What if it never makes it to retail? And so you already have those things adding on, and then to add in, and then there's this expansion that what if we love this game, we'll never get to play, is just even more pressure.
Here's my problem with this trend in terms of like the release of the game and the expansion, and that window is getting smaller and smaller. In the case of some Kickstarter games, there's no window at all. Even if the publisher or the designer does their due diligence in playtesting it, and they playtest it for hours and hours, hundreds of hours, there might still be dominant strategies that they weren't able to discover. That's when it takes the community to really play a game and break it. With these expansions coming out more quickly, we are really losing that.
Yeah, and sometimes I think that expansions are coming out so quickly that I haven't even gotten completely tired or mastered the base game until all of a sudden there's an added expansion. And in the case of one of our favorite games,
Scythe. So this is an example.
I don't particularly think it adds anything.
Oh no, you're thinking of the Wind Gambit. This is an essential expansion to Scythe, in my opinion, because it adds more characters. The Wind Gambit, on the other hand...
To each their own. It's not really adding to our experience at this time, but I can understand where people like it.
But I think what you're getting at is that sometimes expansions make a game better, fix a thing that's broken. That was the case with the Star Wars Rebellion expansion, although I personally didn't have a problem with the combat, but that's just me. Sometimes it's just adding more game for the sake of more game.
Yeah, it's almost like adding fondant to the top of a cake.
Sometimes.
You really need it? Does it make the cake taste better?
We're supposed to disagree more. I don't know. Like,
You were supposed to take the pro. We knew it.
Expansions are great.
We
I
knew
love
the way that I
expansions.
was going to go. I've been very clear.
I think expansions are great.
Me too.
No,
well,
you're supposed
to
take... Because they add more to the game, and if it's a game you really love, what's the harm in having more of it?
Exactly.
No.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, ready? And, it's not like anyone's forcing you to go out there and buy those expansions.
Well, we won't get into the structural realities of the board game.
Don't.
Okay. Save that for another blender.
Nope. It's coffee gets you. You don't want that.
Okay. I think we bickered enough. I don't want to offend people by talking about how I think that, that they don't have a choice and that it plays to, completionist in people, and I don't want to get into that.
Maybe next week we should talk about people shouldn't get so offended so easily.
Stop. You're gonna cut that out.
No, I'm not. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hello, my name's Dan, and this is my board gaming time capsule. Now then, no one really knows what's going to happen in the future, but we all have our hopes and dreams about it. Now, I've got a dream that one day there'll be no more tired and boring themes in board gaming. No more zombies, no more spaceships, no more Cthulhu, no more farming, no more trading in the Mediterranean, and no more boring gangsters. No, I dream that in the future all board games will have just one theme. One marvellous, unifying theme that will eliminate the need for any other themes. One theme to rule them all. One theme to find them. One theme to bring them all, and in the darkness, No, not Lord of the Rings. I'm talking about Huddersfield, of course. I dream that in the future, all games will be themed around my hometown, the jewel of Europe, Huddersfield, Yorkshire. Now, up until recently, it looked like this dream would never come true. Despite me writing encouraging letters to people like Martin Wallace, Eric Lang, Stephen Bonacore and Jamie Stegmaier, it felt like I was getting nowhere. But then, in stepped this man, Frederick Henry, the designer of Timeline, and also the designer of Conan and the upcoming Batman board game, which, after playing a prototype the other day, I am exceptionally excited about. With his help, and with very generous support and authorisation from Asmodee, we've got this printed, a Huddersfield-themed mini-expansion for Timeline. If you've not played Timeline before, then you really should. It's a trivia game where players compete to put historical events into the right chronological order. So, in this mini-expansion, we've got 6 of the most prominent events to happen in the town. The opening of Victoria Tower, the birth of Sir Patrick Stewart, the founding of Rugby League, the first episode of Last of the Summer Wine, the uprising of the Luddites, and, of course, possibly the most important of all, the founding of the Noble Order of Huddersfield Board Gamers. If you'd like to get hold of some of these promos, then your best way is probably to approach me at a convention and ask me to give you one. This coming year I'm aiming to be at AirCon, the UK Games Expo, Dice Tower Con, and possibly Essen. So, all that's left to do is to put these Huddersfield Timeline cards into the board gaming time capsule. But don't worry, I've got lots left.
For my chat today for Under the Radar, I'm highlighting something that's a little newer than I usually like to highlight. This is a 2017 release, but it's really flying under the radar. I haven't heard anyone talking about it, and that is the expansion to Jamaica, Jamaica the Crew. Jamaica is quite an older design by now. It's 10 years old. I guess in board game years, that's quite a bit. And it's never had an expansion before, and so 10 years later, we have Jamaica the Crew. And I love Jamaica. It's one of my favorite games, so I was extremely excited when I first heard about this, and the long waiting to finally get my hands on it. I thought it was very worth it, and while the expansion wasn't necessarily what I thought it was going to be, once I accepted what it was, I really enjoyed it, and I do think it's a well-designed package that folds into the original board game really easily and interestingly. But I'm not sure why no one's paying attention anymore. Is it because we are so caught up in this cult of the new, and Jamaica being 10 years old simply, doesn't require or demand, let's say, that kind of attention? I don't know. Is this not as widely available as it will be? I don't think that's it, which is why I felt okay with putting it on the list. But I really think that this, ultimately, the thing it does the best is add personality to Jamaica. It adds specific details to it, characters, new actions that enliven the world in which you are playing, where before, any character you played was one image of who you're supposed to be on the backs of your cards. And that's all of the personality you had to anchor yourself to, if you'll excuse the unintended pun. Now you've got all of these characters that you can hire and add to your crew. And it makes your ship and the holds in your ship so diverse. It adds so much color. It adds so much interest. You can come up with backstories for these characters. And it's really neat to be able to have a new resource you have to manage in your hold. It used to be, you had gold, you had cannon powder, and you had food. And those three things, you were always trying to stay on top of them, right? And then you want the gold for victory points, you want the cannons to, attack or defend yourself, and then food you need to traverse the board. Well, now you have characters. And yes, they behave like another resource. They give you a little bonus, they take up a hold in your ship. But the amount of charm and interest that they bring is simply not comparable to the other three resources. And I think that's really cool. It's a rare treat indeed to find an expansion that not only adds content to the game, I mean brand new abilities, not just there were cards, here's more of the same kind of cards, but also enhances the world building found in the game. It's kind of like discovering deleted scenes, great deleted scenes, to a favorite film of yours, right? And that's how a good expansion feels to me. The ones that really add to the setting are even more involving in what's happening on the table. I think Jamaica the Crew is able to do that. So, if you've never played Jamaica, I definitely would recommend you give it a shot. It's a fantastic racing game. Super lovable, silly, light in many ways, yes, but a blast to play. And if you have played, then I definitely recommend you check out Jamaica the Crew, because I think it's going to, in some incredible way, both add to the game and yet streamline the teaching process. I find that playing this game with the expansion actually simplifies some of the concepts in the original that didn't make as much sense thematically. Things like opening up a treasure chest and finding something in there that is not treasure. You no longer do that in this game if you play with the expansion, and that's just easy to teach. I like that very much. So, Jamaica the Crew, for Under the Radar, give this expansion some love, and I'll see you next time.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. What am I doing? Oh, I'm trying to make some air holes. There's too much air in the box. Just wish there's something I could do more with it, you know? Just want to let some of the air out. I wish there's something else I could put in here. Oh, put the expansion in here? Oh, yeah, I'll do that. I'll just put the expansion in here. You know, on second thought, I'll just keep it in this one. My name is Chris, and this is the Teacher's Lounge, a place where we talk about teaching recommendations, tips, and strategies for you teaching games to your friends and to your family. The topic of expansions is really interesting because I love expansions, I love playing with expansions, but I tend to skew away from teaching games with expansions, especially when I'm teaching them for the first time to people, whereas other people feel a lot more comfortable doing that, and I've kind of wondered, you know, maybe I can be a little bit looser, or maybe am I correct in wanting to teach the purity of just the base game first? And so talking with people on social media, on Board Game Geek, and just face-to-face, I came out with three main takeaways to consider before deciding if you should teach a game to people with the expansion included. First is to consider the game that you're teaching. The second is to consider the people that you're teaching it to. And third is to consider how likely are you to play this game with those people again? So first, let's talk about the game. If the game is complicated enough already, maybe you want to leave out the expansion if it includes more thinking. But some games, whether they're complicated or not, lend themselves really well to having expansions fit right in. I think of Eldritch Horror with a lot of the cards from the expansions, especially small ones like Forsaken Lore, fit right in. You don't really have more upfront teaching to do, because they'll just fit in and you'll cover that topic when you get there. There's so much to learn when you teach someone Eldritch Horror for the first time anyway. Whereas other games are complicated, like Tzolk'in here, and you throw in the expansion and it's even more for people to process up front. So if the game is simple enough that you're not worrying about too many things up front, maybe you can get away with the expansion, whereas other times you might not want to. Next topic is the people that you're playing it with. Maybe the people you're playing with are looking for a crunchier, heavier experience, and so you know that basic Splendor or Ticket to Ride isn't going to cut it. But a lot of times when I'm teaching games to people, it is more of that gateway opportunity, and therefore I really skew away from teaching games with expansions. I am going to want to play Ticket to Ride Pennsylvania or the UK with the stocks and with the technology trees or something. But that doesn't mean that the people I'm showing it Ticket to Ride to for the first time, they don't want to think about that. They want to make the connections. They want to see the beauty and the purity of the base game as is, and then maybe if they want to come back to it, then they can start expanding and you can say, hey, there's some extra stuff in here too for you. And the last point is, how likely are you or they to play this game again? And this one I think is really interesting. It's really important in that if this is the only time you think this person will ever play Eldritch Horror, give them the whole experience. Why not, right? Whereas a game like Splendor or Ticket to Ride, people are going to want to jump into it over and over and over again, typically, right? And so let them explore and find the expansions kind of on their own, or let there be this progression. Whereas if you show them a game with the expansion built in, and then they want to go and find the game on their own, if they're really likely to do that, and they say, oh, I'm really disappointed that some of the coolest parts of the game weren't in it when I bought it, that's kind of doing a disservice. So if the person is likely to go and play that game again, then I tend to skew away from teaching with the expansion and letting them organically discover it, or come back to me and we'll say, hey, let's throw in this expansion module, or let's throw in this new map or something. And so there you go, right? The game, the people you're teaching it to, and the likelihood that they're going to play it again. I absolutely love expansions. And now an interesting question, as a side, is this game here, San Juan. It had a first printing, and then it had an expansion, and in the second printing, the expansion is now part of the base game. Does that make it a new base game, and that's okay to teach everything? Food for thought. Well, anyway, thank you for coming to the Teacher's Lounge. I hope you enjoyed this teaching recommendation. I'll be responding to any questions or comments below under the name Meeple Overboard, the podcast that I'm a part of. And I hope that you all have a great holiday. Thanks, and stay a friend of the blend.
Hello, my name's Dan, and this is Cora, and we're here today to talk to you about
Viticulture expansions.
Seeds. I found seeds. Everyone knows the classic viticulture. Here today we just talk about the expansions. There are two expansions for the Essential Edition. One is the Tuscany Essential Edition, and the other one is the Visitors of the Moor. What comes in the Tuscany expansions? You have a higher majority here in the Tuscan regions. You have a different turn order that takes times in 4 seasons instead of 2. You have, if you want, also structures, and you can add these modules, whatever modules you like to your experience. Once you may play with something, once you may play with something else. For example, there are also specialized workers. You can get 2 cards, on which 2 specialized workers you can get, with 2 specialized workers you can get during the game instead of your normal worker, additional works that you can train. So there is that. There are the structures, as I mentioned, that you can then build on your player board to add special actions or special bonuses every round. Like in this case, you get an order card every round, for example. And there are new fields on the main board. This is a different board. So you get, for example, this is one of the most important new fields where you can get to exchange whatever you want between these fields. Then of course you still rely on getting good grapes, but you have, as usual in this game, a lot of options, a lot of strategy. You just have to act fast because the turns run fast and you just don't have enough time to do everything. First pro, with the structures card, the new more visitors for summer and winter, and all the new cards that you get enough variety for 100 years. This game will stay forever with you if you want. So it's not about variety only, it's really about the cards, because these cards are what makes the game great for me. The spots on the board are nice and they obviously shape the game, but what you can build as a strategy comes most of the time from your hand, from what cards you get and how can you make the most out of them. And having more of this will make every experience unique and fun. So structured cards in particular give you another direction also in which you can go. First con, some of the expansions are a little subpar in comparison to this gem. And for me in particular, the area majority one is not something that I care much about. It is okay, but it's just not at the level of the rest of the game. This is a wonderful masterpiece, so there is not much to say. Don't rush yourself and get everything on the table with every single module, with every single expansions on the table, because it may be an experience for the first times that you don't appreciate. It's better to play with one module than another time with another module and see how it changes the rules of the game. That was it. Do you want to add anything, Dan? Oh no, thanks. I don't have to add anything. Thank you.
Hello everybody and welcome to the life of a board gamer. My name is Daniel. Neuroshima Hex is a wonderful game, but there is so much expansion for this game that basically I cannot tell you how many expansions it has. It's like 12 expansions or something like that, and it would be just too much time to talk about each different expansion on its own, so I will show you this cute little representation of the expansions. So let's see it. Whatever. What happens in Hiroshima stays in Hiroshima. I'm your private dancer, dancer for money, do what you want me to. Look at him. His breath is killing me. Uranopolis. Nope, not going there. Oh. My fist though. My fist to your face. Start spreading the news. I'm living today. You think you're smart? No. But I have my gang with me.
What gang?
These guys.
We are the gang.
The Iron Gang.
We are the gang.
The Iron Gang. Shh! We are ironing the gang. Shh! The gang.
Ironing.
Ironing is immense.
Hi, I'm Max.
I'm John.
And I'm Tess.
And this is Gizmo.
We're from Games for Families.
He's looking.
Tessie, go.
I'm being really dramatic.
So far, since we've had him, he has eaten so many games pieces that he has developed the special power to tell which of two games is best. So let's play Gizmo Knows.
Gizmo Knows.
Last try.
Psst, Gizmo, look, a game. I know you love games. And this is a brilliant game. It's called Smash Up Awesome Level 9000. Oh, I can see you lunging at the opportunity to play that game. Look, there are plants, Gizmo. You love plants, you love eating them. Hello. Hello. And look, you can also get bears. Bears are like dogs, they're big, but they're also like dogs. And ghosts, and steampunks, and loads of awesome things. You can add to Smash Up, you can be the robot plants, and you can be unbeatable.
So, Gizmo, I'm going to show you Evolution Climate. Evolution Climate is a great expansion for the game Evolution. Just like in the game Evolution, you're creating little dinosaurs, giving them traits, baby eating your mum's herbivore, which really annoys her. But what it adds is this idea of climate. So every turn, the climate may change and affect your monsters in different ways. I think it adds to the game. It's utterly beautiful, the climate board, and it adds a lot of flavour, which I think is really fantastic for the game. So, Gizmo, if you could choose Evolution Climate, I would be extremely.
Go now.
Okay, ready? And
go.
See which one you
The
got.
dog has been released.
Are you considering it, Gizmo? Which one do you want?
No, he's just staring
Gizmo, do you want
at
this
me.
one or this one?
He's
Which
just
one?
staring at me.
Gizmo, which one? Oh, I think you rushed Smash Up. I think I'll give that to you, Johnny.
Oh yes! Thank you, Gizmo. You're my hero. You're my hero. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the game if you play it. And I really hope you stay tuned in for the next installment of Gizmo Knows!
Yeah.
Howdy folks, welcome to Player Showdown. I'm Rebecca.
I'm Hunter, and today we're looking at expansions, and the expansion we're looking at is, for Splendor, the Cities of Splendor.
It is splendiferous. And not only is there one expansion, but 4
But wait,
expansions.
there's 4.
That's, ooh, clever.
Let's take a look at them. We're going under the assumption that you already know Splendor and are familiar with Splendor. If not, watch one of the many, many different reviews for Splendor and learn the game, or purchase the game yourself before you purchase these expansions. But we're going to go straight into those expansions. There's 4 different modules, and we're going to do each one for you right now. So the first expansion we're going to look at is Trading Posts. And what this one does, it gives you a board that you can get special powers from. You get those special powers by gathering the correct amount of gems. You put your little shield on the power, and now you get that power for the remainder of the game. This is in addition to any other benefits you might get for those gems, and you don't have to spend those gems to get those special powers. You just have to have the gems in your tableau.
The next expansion is called Cities. This one is very simple. The only thing that you really change is that you do not use the noble tiles, and instead you're going to take out these city tiles and put them across the top. And what they have is they have a prestige point requirement. You still play the game just like you normally do, but once you actually qualify, you get the number of prestige points and you have the certain number of gems or color of gems that is required. You take that tile and that triggers the end of the game.
So the next expansion is called Strongholds. In this game, basically the only difference, you play Splendor normally, but when you purchase a card, you take one of your strongholds, the little plastic strongholds, and you can either do one of 2 things. You can place one of your strongholds on a card, or you can remove another player's stronghold, or you can move one of your strongholds from one card to another. And basically what this is a blocking mechanism. As long as there is another player's stronghold on a card, you cannot purchase it. There is a slight additional power. If you get all of the three strongholds on the same card, you can purchase that card after you purchase another card.
And the last expansion is called the Orient. This one expands your player board quite a bit. You've got 30 Orient development cards, and they also are organized in levels 1, 2, and 3, just like the regular cards, and you set them up alongside, so you're going to have 6 extra cards to choose from as you're obtaining your gems and trying to get these. The Orient cards, however, have additional abilities. Some of them will double up on the number of gems that you receive, or they might have more victory points. They might be wilds. So that is Cities of Splendor. And since we took copious amounts of time explaining that, we're going to do a very quick rundown of our actual thoughts on it. So we're going to do these speedy top 4. Ready, set, go.
All right. Strongholds, least favorite.
Man, that's okay.
Cities.
It's not too bad.
I like it. Get different in-game. Trading Posts.
That's pretty cool. Nice variety.
I like it. Asymmetrical.
Yep.
And the best is?
Orient, my favorite by far. I will play it every time.
Awesome, awesome.
Good stuff. So, that is Cities of Splendor. Try it out. And from all of us at Player Showdown, we would like to wish you a very merry Christmas, happy holidays, and everything in between.
Cool catchphrase!
And that's going to do it for us, everybody. A big thanks, as always, to you for tuning in. We appreciate it. A big thanks to all the contributors, of course. And stay tuned. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks for our upcoming episode. Let me go ahead and wish you some happy holidays. I hope you have a great end of the year with family and friends and play some good games, all right? And, as always, hey, stay a friend of the blend. I'll see you next time.